We're talking to musical theater actress Daisy Egan. If you have any questions for Daisy, give us a call at 1-800-336-2225. And Daisy, I wanted to ask you something about your education. You went to Antioch University and studied psychology and creative writing. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Antioch, yeah.
Okay.
And how do you feel about that education in psychology? Do you use that a lot? Do you find in your auditions and in performance and things like that?
I think all actors do. I think that, as actors, we sort of are constantly studying the human condition. I think it's why a lot of actors become therapists. And I did actually start grad school to become a licensed clinician, but decided that I wanted to get back to performing because I had taken a few years off of performing. Yeah, and it's something that I do plan on pursuing at some point because I think it would be something that I'd be good at, and it is a lot like character studies. You have to know something about psychology in order to sort of portray the psychology of another person.
Absolutely. I would imagine it helps so much in character research.
Yeah, definitely.
Daisy, we have a caller on the line for you. We have Bob in Glendale. Hi, Bob. How are you?
Hello, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Hi, Daisy. Thank you for taking the call. Daisy, I know that you've worked on both coasts. I heard you say that there's a lot of good theater in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. I agree with that, but there's also a lot of bad theater in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
and the same in New York. What is your favorite? Do you like working in New York or do you like working in Los Angeles?
I don't know that I have a preference, although, like I said earlier in the show, I think my favorite theater experiences have been on the West Coast. I mean, granted, they were actually La Jolla and South Coast Rep, but I consider that, Los Angeles light. But I don't know that I have a preference. I mean, it's different. It's very different. I think that people doing theater in L.A. Can either be people who are really devoted to doing theater because why else would you do theater in L.A., or they're people who want to be, seen to be on TV. And, obviously you hope to work with the former kind of cast because those are people who are really dedicated to the craft of it. Because it's a tough road to hoe in L.A.
Yeah, it certainly is rough. There's no question about that. But for some reason, because I've lived in New York, it seems to me that theater in New York, they take it a little bit more professionally than they do in Los Angeles. There's good theater here in L.A., but for some reason it's not taken as seriously as it. I'm talking about the general public as it is in New York.
Well, yeah, I think that L.A. is a TV and film town.
Yeah.
So I think that, I think for a lot of people who live in Los Angeles, theater is sort of an afterthought. But I haven't really experienced any bad audiences in terms of, theater goers in L.A. And the quality of production that I've seen, there's a ton of repertory theater in L.A., and obviously that's always hit or miss wherever you go.
Sure.
But I've experienced the level of professionalism to be about the same, I'd say. I can't really speak for what the audiences are like.
Okay, thanks very much. Good luck to you.
Sure.
Bob? Oh, I was going to ask Bob.
I didn't get his ticket.
Yeah, I know. Well, what's funny is I think that's the same Bob from Glendale who called in last week and won our rabbit hole ticket, so I wanted to check with him. But yeah. So, Bob, if you're listening, call us back.
Maybe he's just not into the LA theater scene anymore.
Could be.
Maybe Rabbit Hole threw him over the edge.
Might have been. So, Daisy, we get a lot of listeners in other areas of the country that are looking to come out to LA and pursue their dreams of getting into entertainment, that type of thing. And I want to ask you, as we ask most of our guests, what advice would you give them? What would you say to them to help them out on their path?
Well, I don't want to sound too bitter. LA is a tough place. If LA is the place that you choose to go, if you choose to go to LA for theater and you're good at what you do, you actually have a good opportunity of getting work. because the pool is smaller, and there is, there is some work out there, and there's some good work being done out there. If you're going for TV and film, it's rough. I think a lot of kids come from small towns where they are, the prettiest or the most good-looking guy in class, and they get to LA and they're, unfortunately just another good-looking person, because LA is, the hub of all good-looking people.
Dime a dozen.
If you agree with that kind of aesthetic. But so it's hard. You have to have a very, very firm grasp on who you are, because people will try to knock it down. So just have a firm grasp, and also remember the other things in life that you love to do, and do them as much as possible.
Daisy, real quick, our producer wants to know, where do you keep your Tony?
It's in my dining area. In my apartment in LA, next to my menorah and my picture of my mother.
Yes.
To find out any information on Ghostlight Musical, visit nymf.org. That's the New York Musical Theater Film Festival. And thanks so much for calling us up and talking to us, Daisy.
We love you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And any New Yorkers, please come see Ghostlight. It's a hell of a show.
We'll be back on La La Land with Brett and Nett on CRN Digital Talk.
CRN listeners, is it time for a new roof?